Hello, viewers. A very good morning to you all, and welcome to a live telecast of the inaugural session of the Mid-Year Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association being held in the Assam Assembly Hall in Guwahati, Assam today with a two-day program. In a short while from now, Mr. Om Birla, Speaker of the Lok Sabha of the Indian Parliament, will inaugurate the Executive Committee meeting. The inaugural function will be addressed by the acting chairperson of the CPA, Mr. Jan Ladl Granger, the Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, and the Assam Legislative Assembly Speaker, Mr. Biswajit Doimari. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee meeting being held in India for the first time is being attended by representatives of 53 Commonwealth countries covering 9 regions of the Commonwealth. The Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association usually meets twice a year. The meet will focus on a number of topics like exchange of best parliamentary practices, study of different parliamentary systems across the Commonwealth, and on making parliamentary democracy more vibrant in the Commonwealth countries. You can see delegates coming from various Commonwealth countries coming to the Assam Assembly Hall premises. They are taking their seats in the Assembly Hall, expecting the arrival of the Indian Lok Sabha Speaker, Mr. Om Birla, will inaugurate the Mid-Year Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The Indian representatives in the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee are Mr. Om Birla, Speaker of the Lok Sabha of the Indian Parliament, Mr. Anurag Thakur, Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, India, and Biswajit Doimari, Speaker of the Assam Legislative Assembly. Here we can see the acting chairperson of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Mr. Jan Ladl Granger. He has been felicitated with the gamusa, the traditional gamusa of Assam. Here we can see more delegates who have come from various countries of the Commonwealth. They are members of the Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. They'll meet here for 2 days. After the inaugural function, the main meeting of the Executive Committee will start in the afternoon, and this will continue till tomorrow. And they will discuss various issues pertaining to the parliamentary democracy in the Commonwealth countries, their practices, and what reforms they can bring in for a healthy, vibrant democracy in the Commonwealth countries. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association represents more than 180 parliaments and legislatures in 53 Commonwealth countries. It is divided up between 9 geographical regions of the Commonwealth. They are Africa, Asia, Australia, the British Islands and Mediterranean, Canada, the Caribbean, America and Atlantic, India, the Pacific, and Southeast Asia. Significantly, the executive meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association will be followed by the Indian Region Conference of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association on April 11 and 12, where the speakers, deputy speakers, leaders of the opposition of the various state assemblies and councils of the state would attend. Here we can see delegates coming from various Commonwealth countries, who are representatives from the countries in the Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, coming here to India for the first time, and it's an honor for Assam and the northeastern part of India to host for the first time the mid-year Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Assam and Northeast are honored to host the first meeting of the Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association for the first time in India. It is hoped that the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association meet will further deepen the roots of democracy and parliamentary practices in the region. The meet is also being held at a time when the neighboring state of Nagaland has elected its first women Rajya Sabha member, Pangnong Konyak. The Assam Legislative Assembly, which is hosting the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association executive meeting, was established in Shillong, the erstwhile capital of the composite state of Assam, on April 7, 1937. Situated in the northeastern part of India, Assam has a glorious history of her own. Popularly known as the Ethnological Museum of India, Assam is described as a mini India, having a rich cultural heritage with diverse race, religion, and culture. It presently has a strength of 126 members representing different parts of the state. The Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association is being held at a time when Assam and her people are preparing to celebrate the Bohag Bihu, the biggest national spring festival of the state, and the Assamese New Year. And on the agenda of the representatives who have come from different parts of the country are presentations of cultural events depicting the state's culture and rich, glorious heritage, visits to tea gardens, and the textile town of Swalkusi, where the heritage textiles like Andi and Muga of Assam are weaved. Delegates slowly coming in to the Assam Assembly Hall also of the Assam Legislative Assembly. They are the representatives of the Commonwealth countries are being welcomed with the traditional gamusa of Assam depicting the rich cultural heritage of the state. Members of the Assam Assembly are also coming in for the inaugural session of the mid-year Executive Council Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. We can see the representatives being felicitated with the traditional gamusa. Commonwealth countries represent those countries who were at one time under British rule. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association has also provision for the Commonwealth Women Parliamentary Association, where they encourage women members from the Commonwealth countries to congregate and discuss various issues pertaining to women empowerment, gender, and other issues to uplift the women folk of the Commonwealth countries. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association also has a branch covering the disabled and others under the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association.
So we have people here from countries, right? So Barbados, United Kingdom, Australia, Malaysia, we have Singapore, Ghana, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Zanzibar.
The Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association will be followed by the Indian Regional Conference of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. And here we'll find the speakers, the presiding officers, the deputy speakers, and leaders of the opposition from various states of India congregating in Guwahati on the 11th of April, and they will discuss the various issues pertaining to healthy parliamentary practices in India. As we are aware, various reforms have already been undertaken in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha of the Indian Parliament, but this has to percolate to the various state assemblies in different parts of the country. So this will be a forum where the presiding officers will meet under the leadership of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Mr. Om Birla, and they'll discuss various issues pertaining to running of the state assemblies, the problems they face, what reforms are to be brought in for a healthy, vibrant democracy to function in India. Delegates coming from the various Commonwealth countries attending the mid-year session of the Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association are slowly taking their seats in the Assam Assembly Hall premises. They are now awaiting the arrival of the distinguished guests who comprise the Mr. Om Birla, Speaker of the Lok Sabha of the Indian Parliament. The welcome address of the inaugural function will be delivered by the Assam Chief Minister, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, while the vote of thanks will be delivered by the Speaker of the Assam Assembly, Mr. Biswajit Doimari. Mr. Om Birla, Speaker of the Indian Parliament Lok Sabha, will be given a guard of honor on his arrival in the Assam Assembly premises before being escorted to the Assembly Hall. You can see representatives coming from various countries of the Commonwealth, from Africa, various countries of Asia, in attendance here. It's very significant that the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee is being held in India for the first time and is being attended by representatives of 53 Commonwealth countries covering 9 regions. And Assam is proud to host the first mid-year executive committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, for the first time being held in India. In a short while from now, Mr. Om Birla, Speaker of the Lok Sabha of the Indian Parliament, will inaugurate the executive committee meeting. The inaugural function will be addressed by the acting chairperson of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Mr. Jan Ladl Granger. The Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, and the Assam Legislative Assembly Speaker, Mr. Biswajit Doimari, will also address the inaugural function of the mid-year executive meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association meets twice a year, and the meet will focus on a number of topics like exchange of best parliamentary practices, study of different parliamentary systems across the Commonwealth, and on making parliamentary democracy more vibrant in the Commonwealth countries. We can see here member representatives of the opposition parties and the ruling and opposition parties of the Assam Assembly taking their seats for the inaugural function of the Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Members from Africa, Asia, and other regions of the Pacific, Mediterranean, and other regions are attending today's Executive Committee meeting. Representatives of as many as 53 countries of the Commonwealth are coming to the Executive Committee meeting here today. The Indian representatives in the Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association are Mr. Om Birla, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha of the Indian Parliament, Mr. Anurag Thakur, who is the Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, and Mr. Biswajit Doimari, who is the Speaker of the Assam Legislative Assembly. You can see here Senior Minister Mr. Chandramohan Patwari, the Leader of the Opposition Mr. Debabrata Mishra Saikia, a lady member from the Assam Assembly, dressed in the traditional Mekhala Chadar of Assam. Members awaiting the arrival of the distinguished guests of today's executive meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Mr. Om Birla, Speaker of the Lok Sabha of the Indian Parliament, will inaugurate the Executive Committee meeting in presence of the acting chairperson of the Executive Committee, Mr. Jan Ladl Granger. The inaugural function will be addressed by the Assam Chief Minister, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, and the Speaker of the Assam Legislative Assembly, Mr. Biswajit Doimari. Delegates are coming from different as many as 180 parliaments and legislatures in 53 Commonwealth countries. The Commonwealth countries are divided into 9 geographical regions of the Commonwealth, like Africa, Asia, Australia, British Islands and Mediterranean, Canada, the Caribbean, America and Atlantic, India, the Pacific, and Southeast Asia. Assam and the Northeast are honored to host the first meeting of the Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association for the first time in India. And it's hoped that the executive meeting of the CPA will further deepen the roots of democracy and the parliamentary practices in the region. The meeting is being held at a time when neighboring state of Nagaland has elected for the first time a woman Rajya Sabha member, Phangnon Konyak. The Assam Legislative Assembly, which is hosting the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association's mid-year executive meet, was established in Shillong, the erstwhile capital of the composite state of Assam, on April 7, 1937. Situated in the northeastern part of India, Assam has a glorious history of her own. Popularly known as the Ethnographical Museum of India, Assam is described as a mini India, having a rich cultural heritage with diverse race, religion and culture. Assam Assembly has a strength of 126 members representing different parts of the state. The Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association is being held at a time in Guwahati, Assam, when the state and our people are preparing to celebrate the Bohag Bihu, the biggest national spring festival of the state, and the Assamese New Year. Representatives coming from the Commonwealth countries to attend the mid-year executive committee meeting will have the opportunity of attending the festivities and cultural events associated with the Bohag Bihu festival. They will also have an opportunity to visit the wildlife parks like the Pobitara Wildlife Sanctuary, which has a substantial population of the famous one-horned rhino, which is famous all over the world. We have in Assam the Kaziranga National Park, the Manas National Park, the Orang National Park, and the Dispur National Park, among others, which has a rich heritage of the state's flora and fauna. Delegates will also have the opportunity of visiting the famous Assam tea gardens, from where the internationally famed Assam tea is prepared. In Guwahati, they will have the opportunity of visiting the rich monuments depicting the cultural heritage of the city and the state. The famous Kamaikya temple, the higher institutions of learning like Guwahati University, the Indian Institute of Technology. We have also the refinery, Guwahati refinery in the city, which depicts the progress and development Assam has taken since its independence, India's independence 75 years ago. Assembly Hall, which is hosting the mid-year executive committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, is slowly filling up with the arrival of the delegates coming from various Commonwealth countries. Also in attendance are members of the Assam Assembly, the delegates are being welcomed with the traditional gamosha of Assam and other gamusa of the various ethnic groups. We can see here the Mr. Doimari. Here is Mr. Om Birla, accompanied by Jan Granger and Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma. The distinguished guests have arrived at the Assam Assembly. Here is Speaker of the Assam State Assembly, Mr. Doimari. Here is Mr. Om Birla, Speaker of the Indian Parliament, Lok Sabha. Jan Granger, Acting Chairperson of the CPA, and Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma of the Assam Chief Minister. They've taken this seat. A big welcome to the distinguished guests attending the mid-year executive committee meeting of the Commonwealth
Honorable
Parliamentary
Speaker, Lok Sabha,
Association.
Shri Om Birla, Honorable Ian Little Granger, Chairperson, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, Honorable Speaker, Assam Legislative Assembly, Shri Biswajit Doimari, Excellencies, distinguished members of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Honorable Ministers, members of Parliament, members of Assam Legislative Assembly, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Assam Legislative Assembly and Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Assam State Branch and Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, India Region, I extend a warm welcome to you all to the inaugural ceremony of the mid-year Executive Committee meeting of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. It is indeed a matter of immense pride and honor for Assam that a mid-year meeting of Executive Committee of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association is being organized in India for the first time, and Assam Legislative Assembly is playing the host. We feel deeply honored to be able to welcome you all to the picturesque land of Blue Hills, the mighty Brahmaputra, endless tea gardens spanning the horizon, magnificent forests where the one-horned rhino roams free, a land known for its smiling people with kindness in their hearts and warmth in their demeanor. Experience hospitality sublime. Be blessed by the divine goddess Kamakhya. We hope that you have enjoyed this slice of heaven on earth. I would now request Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, to kindly deliver his welcome speech.
Honorable Speaker, Lok Sabha, Shri Om Birla ji, Honorable Ian Liddell Grainer, Chairperson, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Shri Biswajit Doimari, Honorable Speaker, Assam Legislative Assembly, Honorable Members of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Members of Assam Legislative Assembly, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I extend a warm welcome to Honorable Speaker of Lok Sabha, Sri Om Birla ji, all the representatives from member countries of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and other esteemed guests to this inaugural program of the Mid-Year Executive Committee meeting of CPA being held at Guwahati today. In 7-decade-old Indian parliamentary democratic setup, today is indeed a historic day. It is for the first time that the Mid-Year Executive Committee meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association is being held in India. I feel immensely proud that CPA Assam State Branch has got the historic opportunity to host this landmark event at Assam Legislative Assembly, which is one among the many public institutions that has an enduring influence in the lives of the people of the entire northeastern region of India. Therefore, while welcoming Honorable Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Sri Om Birla ji, to this event, I also wish to extend my profound thankfulness to him for giving us this rare and remarkable opportunity to host this very significant event. This is indeed a proud moment for the people of Assam, and in the legislative annals of our state, this day will always be remembered as a red letter day. I also feel immensely delighted to say that the representatives from 53 member countries covering all 9 regions of CPA have joined this event either physically or through virtual mode today. While representatives from member countries including United Kingdom, Ghana, Malaysia, Australia, Zambia, Sierra Leone, Kenya, Tanzania, Barbados, Singapore, and India have come all the way to Assam to take part in this event. Representatives from rest of the countries have joined this event virtually. Assam is indeed proud and delighted to have you all amidst us. At this momentous occasion, I am pleased to inform you that our state, being the largest among 8 northeastern states of India, is blessed with large variety of natural resources and very rich biodiversity. Assam is home to the famous one-horned rhino at Kaziranga and other national parks which have variety of wildlife. Our state is nurtured by one of the greatest rivers of the world, Brahmaputra. Assam tea is famous throughout the world, and there are around 850 tea gardens in our state. The petroleum industry in India started at Dispur in Assam, and we have today 4 refineries and significant petroleum as well as natural gas reservoirs. Moreover, in the democratic setup of our country, Assam Legislative Assembly, where the CPA meet is being held, is one of the oldest in India, second only to the Uttar Pradesh Assembly. Prior to India's independence, the whole of today's northeastern region of India, barring the present states of Manipur and Tripura, which were then princely states, constituted the Assam province, with Shillong as the capital. The Assam Legislative Assembly, which was initially a bicameral legislature comprising a legislative council and a legislative assembly, came into being under the Government of India Act 1935. The elected members of the assembly first met on April 7, 1937. In 1972, the state capital was shifted from Shillong to Dispur, and since then the proceedings of Assam Legislative Assembly have continued in Guwahati. Incidentally, 2 days ago, this August House has completed 85 glorious years of its foundation. During the last 8 decades, Assam Legislative Assembly has witnessed many historic debates with several towering personalities adorning this temple of democracy. Most notable amongst these luminaries was Bharat Ratna Lokapriya Gopinath Bordoloi, who was the first Premier of Assam. This august house also played a pioneering role in shaping the socio-cultural and academic edifice of the state while giving a major push to Assam development narrative. It has passed many historic bills leading to unprecedented changes in people's life. With such a remarkable heritage and natural resources, Assam is proud to host this historic event. I hope during the two-day deliberation, while dwelling at length on wide range of issues of constitutional, legislative, economic, social and cultural aspect, you will also take out time to enjoy mesmerizing beauty of our state and its natural resources and rich heritage. I once again welcome you all to this historic event and wish you a pleasant stay in our beautiful land. We are really glad to have you all amidst us. I hope during next 2 days you will profoundly enjoy the beauty of our state and our warm hospitality. With these few words and welcoming you all again, I conclude my speech. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Honorable Ian Liddell Granger, Chairperson of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, to kindly address the August gathering.
Thank you very much and good morning. Honourable Speaker of the Lok Sabha, good morning. Chief Minister of Assam, thank you for your kind words in 85 years of this incredible place. The Speaker of Assam, good morning, sir. To CPA office holders and executive members, to honourable members of the staff of the Assam Legislative Assembly and the Lok Sabha, and the CPA regional secretaries and all the parliamentary staff, can I wish you good morning. It is an incredible pleasure for us all to be here in Guwahati at the CPA Media Executive Committee meeting of 2022, hosted by the CPA Assam branch and CPA India regional branch, and to be here with all colleagues and friends, as you said, First Minister, from across the world. It is an enormous honour. It's much more so because this meeting has been postponed because of the difficulties we had with COVID over the last 2 years. And I'm very grateful for the long patience that you've had for allowing us to come here now and actually finally do this. I'd also thank you all here in India, both federal and state, for being such an enormously important part of the CPA. We've just heard the history of the Assam region, and it's fascinating. And you have been a hugely important part of the CPA family for very, very many years. We've been going since 1911. We are, I hope, historically still a great family of nations and a great family of people working together. This, I will say, is my first chance as acting chairperson, and also embarrassing, my first visit to India and Assam. It is a wonderful location. I had the great honour with Joy and Shamu yesterday of not only going to see the wonderful heritage centre here, but also the tea auction house in the town, and that was absolutely marvellous. But I think what is so important is, over the next 2 days, we have a chance to talk and get to know each other. There are many people here who I've never met. I've seen you on the screen, but can I say you're much better looking when we're together? And it's just such a privilege to be here with you all today. I just want to, if I may, Mr. Speakers, is just to read out the purpose of the CPA, because I think now, even all those years ago, when they aspired to bring nations together across the world, and the Commonwealth, when Her Majesty started, was 8 countries. We're now 54, and we've increased. But it was to connect, develop, promote, and support parliamentarians and their staff to identify benchmarks of good governance and the implementation of the enduring values of the Commonwealth. Well, I don't think you can better sum up why we're here today. That it is that wonderful family to which we all aspire and we enjoy being part of. To be able to promote good governance across 180 CPA branches, using our own internal governance as an organisation, our wonderful Secretariat, is why these meetings, wherever they are in the world, are so important. They're crucial to make sure that we get the consensus on how to take matters, pressing matters together. We are like a family. We can fall out, we can bicker, but we come back together to unite in common purpose. Can I please also take the chance to thank Stephen Twigg, who I've just realised is sitting in front of me. Stephen, I'm so sorry, I was looking for you, couldn't see you. And the executive team, who do an amazing job in making sure that everything happens the way it should. There are only 20 of them, and that is to look after a large organisation like this is incredible. But can I also thank the regional secretaries, the committee members, and also here in India, just not across the world, here in India, because it has been wonderful. I've never seen so many protocol officers, I will say, Mr. Speaker, absolutely wonderful. And I think that to sum this up, the next few days, both with our conference and with the India Regional Conference, is a chance to reset our values, to make sure we understand where we're going in the next few years. And our challenge, Mr. Speaker, is to make sure that we are able to benefit all our members, not just as countries or delegations, but as individuals. We are all parliamentarians. But to make sure that we move forward together as that family. And I would like to thank you again, if I may, for the incredible hospitality, the kindness, the incredible patience that when things go wrong, as they inevitably do, and the humour that we've all seen over the last few days since we all arrived. And lastly, can I please wish you a good conference. Let's all have a good and interesting conference. Lots of talking, lots of laughter, and lots of friendship. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your enlightening words, sir. I would now request Shri Om Birla, Honourable Speaker, Lok Sabha and Chairperson, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, India Region, to kindly deliver his inaugural address.
राष्ट्रमंडल संसदीय संघ के कार्यकारी बैठक में राष्ट्रमंडल संघ की कार्य समिति के कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष, चेयरपर्सन, एक्सलेंसी यान लिडेन गेंगर जी, इस राज्य के लोकप्रिय यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री श्री हेमंत बिस्वा शर्मा जी, असम विधानसभा के माननीय अध्यक्ष श्री विश्वजीत देमारी जी, केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल के सदस्य रामेश्वर तेली जी, माननीय सांसदगण, असम सरकार के मंत्रिमंडल के सदस्यगण और CPA कार्य समिति के सभी सदस्यगण, मैं भारत की जनता की ओर से, भारत की संसद की ओर से आप सबका हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूं, स्वागत करता हूं। ये प्रसन्नता का विषय है कि CPA की मध्यवर्षीय कार्यकारी की बैठक भारत में पहली बार आयोजित की जा रही है और विशेष रूप से इसके लिए मैं असम विधानसभा के अध्यक्ष श्री विश्वजीत देमारी जी की सराहना करता हूं कि उन्होंने इस कार्यकारी बैठक की करने के निर्णय का जिम्मेदारी संभाली और विशेष रूप से राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री जी ने इस बैठक को भव्यता देने का काम किया। जैसा कि मुख्यमंत्री जी ने बताया कि असम भारत का पूर्वोत्तरवर्ती क्षेत्र है जो देश और दुनिया में बहुत खूबसूरत है। यहाँ की खूबसूरत वादियाँ, यहाँ की घाटियाँ, यहाँ की मनोरम नदियाँ, माँ देवी काम्यका का प्रसिद्ध मंदिर, यहाँ की बौद्ध संस्कृति, यहाँ की सांस्कृतिक धरोहर और विविधता वाला ये पूर्व प्रदेश भारत का सबसे महत्वपूर्ण प्रदेश है। माननीय सदस्यों, राष्ट्रमंडल संसदीय संघ में 9 रीजन के 53 देशों के 180 विधानमंडल के सदस्य हैं। ये सभी सदस्य सामूहिक रूप से अपनी उत्कृष्ट परंपराओं, प्रभावी नीतियों और नवाचारों को साझा करते हुए संसदीय लोकतंत्र को एक मजबूत और एक उचित प्लेटफॉर्म देते हैं ताकि हम अपने अनुभवों को, विचारों को, अच्छे नौचारों को आपस में साझा कर लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं को सशक्त कर सके, मजबूत कर सके। मुझे खुशी है कि कार्यकारी समिति के चेयरपर्सन, उनके सक्रिय सहयोगों से CPA ने अंतर संसदीय संगठन में एक विशेष दर्जा हासिल किया है और आज ये एक ऐसा मंच बन गया है जिसके माध्यम से हम अपने अनुभवों, विचारों, नवाचारों, अपने अपने देश के अंदर लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्थाओं से किस तरीके से लोगों के जीवन में परिवर्तन ला सकते हैं, इसके लिए व्यापक मंच बन चुका है। साथियों, भारत लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों और लोकतांत्रिक शासन व्यवस्था के अंदर प्रबल समर्थक है और राष्ट्रमंडल संघ के अंदर भी एक सक्रिय और जवाबदेही भागीदारी निभाता है। दुनिया के 100 देश से ज़्यादा देशों में आज भी लोकतंत्र है और दुनिया के अधिकतम देश अपनी शासन पद्धतियों को लोकतंत्र पद्धतियों के अनुसार चलाने के लिए लगातार प्रयास कर रहे हैं, लेकिन भारत लोकतंत्र में एक विशिष्ट स्थान रखता है। भारत का लोकतंत्र बहुत प्राचीनतम है। हमारी जीवन शैली में, हमारे कार्य में, हमारे व्यवहार में दुनिया का सबसे प्राचीनतम लोकतंत्र भारत का है। और दुनिया के अंदर 130 मिलियन आबादी से ज़्यादा ये देश, जहाँ पर लोकतंत्र की जड़ें बहुत मजबूत है और लोकतंत्र हमें विरासत में मिला है। हमने इस लोकतंत्र की सोच और विचार को और आगे बढ़ाया है। स्वतंत्रता प्राप्ति के 75 वर्ष की गौरवशाली यात्रा में हमारा लोकतंत्र और समृद्ध हुआ है, मजबूत हुआ है, परिपक्व हुआ है। लोकतंत्र के प्रति नागरिकों का विश्वास, भरोसा और बढ़ा है। 17 आम चुनाव के अंदर मतदाताओं की लगातार भागीदारी बढ़ने से जनता में और विश्वास और भरोसा भारत के लोकतंत्र के प्रति बढ़ा है। केंद्रीय विधायिकी के रूप में 800 से ज़्यादा माननीय सदस्य, 4000 से ज़्यादा हमारे राज्यों के विधायक, 3 लाख से ज़्यादा पंचायत, नगर पालिकाएं। हमारा लोकतंत्र का ढांचा ग्रामीण क्षेत्र से लेकर ग्राम की छोटी इकाई, जहां ग्राम पंचायत जिसे कहते हैं, लोकल बॉडीज, लोकल ग्रामीण बॉडीज कहते हैं, वहां भी लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से वहां पर सदस्य चुने जाते हैं। इसी तरीके से अर्बन इलाके के अंदर भी लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से सदस्य चुने जाते हैं। इसलिए लोकतंत्र हमारे नीचे से ऊपर तक हमारा लोकतंत्र सशक्त है और इसमें देश के 90 करोड़ से अधिक मतदाता सक्रिय रूप से भागीदारी निभाते हैं। और जिस सहज रूप से जनता का जनादेश के आधार पर सत्ता का सहज स्थानांतरण भारत में लोकतंत्र में होता है, इससे लगता है कि भारत का लोकतंत्र बहुत सशक्त है, मजबूत है। भारत का लोकतंत्र दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा कार्यशील लोकतंत्र है। सबसे जीवंत और प्रगतिशील लोकतंत्र के लिए विभिन्न स्तरों पर हम लगातार जनता से डायरेक्ट इलेक्शन के माध्यम से हमेशा जनादेश लेते हैं। भारत के प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हमारा देश लगातार हमारे नागरिकों के जीवन में सामाजिक और आर्थिक परिवर्तन करते हुए एक समृद्ध और विकसित भारत के रूप में उभर रहा है। भारत में सबका साथ, सबका विश्वास, सबके प्रयासों से सभी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं यहाँ पर काम करती है। हमारी कोशिश होती है कि अधिकतम जनता की भागीदारी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं के अंदर हो। भारत की आज़ादी के 75 वर्ष पूर्ण होने पर हम आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव मना रहे हैं और ये अमृत महोत्सव में हम लोगों की भागीदारी और बढ़े, लोगों का विश्वास और बढ़े, इसके लिए देश की सभी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं अमृत महोत्सव के माध्यम से जन जन से जुड़ रही है। जिस प्रकार राष्ट्रमंडल विभिन्न देशों का समूह है और सामाजिक कल्याण के लिए काम करता है, उसी तरीके से भारत में भी 28 राज्यों और 8 संघ राज्य क्षेत्रों से मिलकर एक देश बना है। हमारी भौगोलिक, हमारी सांस्कृतिक, हमारी अलग अलग कल्चर, अलग अलग एक्टिविटीज़, खान पान, रहन सहन, विविधताओं के होने के बाद भी हमारा लोकतंत्र और सशक्त हुआ है। भारत एक देश ऐसा देश है जहाँ जितनी विविधता है उतना ही हमारा लोकतंत्र मजबूत होता चला गया है। साथियों, कोविड-19 की विश्वव्यापी संकट ने हम सबको प्रभावित किया है। कोरोना महामारी ने हमें सिखाया है कि हमें सामूहिकता के साथ, एकजुटता के साथ वैश्विक समस्याओं का मुकाबला करना हमारी अब नई जरूरत हो गई है। इसलिए हमें कोशिश करना चाहिए कि हम किस तरीके से पूरे विश्व के देश मिलकर किसी भी चुनौतियों का, किसी भी संकट का सामूहिकता के साथ मुकाबला करें। राष्ट्रमंडल देशों की हमारी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं अपनी प्रतिबद्धताएं एवं परस्पर सहयोग के माध्यम से वैश्विक चुनौतियों का मुकाबला करने में सक्षम है। भारत जलवायु परिवर्तन के लिए सामूहिक हल निकालने के लिए COP26 के अंतर अनुमोदित लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। इसके लिए इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस जैसे इंसेंटिव हो ताकि नवीकरणीय ऊर्जा का अधिकतम प्रयोग हो सके। भारत SDG के लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करने के लिए 2030 तक उस दिशा के अंदर महत्वपूर्ण कार्य कर रहा है। भारत के कुछ जिले जो पिछड़े हैं उन आकांक्षी जिलों को मानकर विशेष रूप से SDG के लक्ष्यों को तय समय पर पूरा करने के लिए काम कर रहा है। भारत वैश्विक रूप से आर्थिक एवं व्यापारिक संबंधों को मजबूत करने के लिए सहयोगी देशों के साथ व्यापारिक समझौते कर रहे हैं ताकि हमारा दोनों देश या जिन देशों से हमारे व्यापारिक समझौते हों, दोनों देश व्यापार की दृष्टि से समृद्ध हो, पर्यटन और अन्य क्षेत्रों के अंदर हम सामूहिकता से काम करके किस तरह से अपने अपने देशों को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं, समृद्ध कर सकते हैं। भारतीय संस्कृति में पूरे विश्व को एक परिवार माना है। हमारी संस्कृति, हमारे संस्कार में हमेशा हम वसुदेव कुटुंबकम की भावना से काम करते हैं। सारे विश्व को एक परिवार मानते हैं और इसको मानकर हम काम करते हैं। हमारा अटल विश्वास है कि विभिन्न अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मुद्दों का समाधान आपसी बातचीत, चर्चा और राजनयिक चर्चा संवाद से होना चाहिए। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय शांति और स्थिरता वैश्विक समृद्धि के लिए आज अनिवार्य है। इसलिए हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि पूरे विश्व के अंदर शांति रहे, स्थिरता रहे और सभी देश आपस में इसमें मिलजुल कर काम करें। इसके लिए हमारी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं, संसद समय समय पर विभिन्न देशों के संस्थाओं के साथ संवाद करती है ताकि सभी देशों में शांति और स्थिरता रहे, ताकि हम शांति स्थिरता के माध्यम से अपने अपने देशों के अंदर वैश्विक रूप से समृद्धि और विकास कर सकें। आइए, ये मौका है जब हम राष्ट्रमंडल संसदीय संघ के इस मंच के माध्यम से लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं को और मजबूत करें, अपनी प्रतिबद्धताओं को बुझाएं, विचार विमर्श, अनुभव, विचारों को साझा करें और अपने अपने देश के अंदर इन लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं के माध्यम से सामाजिक कल्याण कर सकें, जन जन का कल्याण कर सकें। और ये लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं जितनी सशक्त होगी, जितनी मजबूत होगी, उतना ही हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जनता का अधिकतम कल्याण कर सकेंगे। इसलिए आप यहाँ पर पधारे। आपकी कार्यकारी बैठक दिन भर आज चलेगी। विभिन्न विषयों पर आप चर्चा करेंगे, संवाद करेंगे और आप आज की ये चर्चा परिणामपूर्वक होगी ताकि हम संपूर्ण विश्व के अंदर शांति, अस्थिरता के साथ लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं को मजबूत करते हुए, सशक्त करते हुए किस तरीके से अच्छी बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेज को अलग अलग लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं आपस में अपनाएं ताकि अपने अपने देश को, लोकतंत्र को और मजबूत कर सके। आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insightful thoughts with us. I would now request Shri Biswajit Doimari, Honorable Speaker, Assam Legislative Assembly and President, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Assam State Branch, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Speaker, Lok Sabha Shri Om Birla Ji, Honorable Yan Ledil Ringyar, Chairperson, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma Ji, Excellencies, distinguished members of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Executive Committee, Honorable Union Minister Rameshwar Theliji, Honorable Minister of Government of Assam, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Member of Assam Legislative Assemblies, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed our proud privilege to host the first ever CPA Mid-Year Exco meeting in India. The honor is further enhanced as this meeting has coincided with the 85th anniversary of Assam Legislative Assembly on 7th April. Assam is known as Cultural Museum of India, has been indeed blessed by the august presence of the rainbow of the Commonwealth fraternity. Assam is state of tea. This is known all over the world. Assam is known as a mini India, where different tribes and communities having different cultures, traditions, language, and customs coexist peacefully. And for you, this is mini world also. Like a world in Assam, there is many tribes, and you have already shown yesterday also, somebody who have visited in the border of Bhutan yesterday. There is many tribes, and they have different culture, different language. So it is like a mini world. It is a reflection of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, where people of different regions with different cultures come together in one platform. My sincere thanks to Honorable Speaker Lok Sabha, Shri Om Birla, for his insightful inaugural address. My sincere thanks and gratitude to Honorable Granger Ji, Chairperson of CPA Exco, for his speech, which has indeed embellished the proceedings of the inaugural ceremony today. I also thank Honorable Chief Minister Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, for his inspiring welcome speech and his generous and constant support, which has made organizing of this historic event possible. Before concluding, I would also thank all of you from the core of my heart for gracing this occasion, in spite of numerous challenges of international travel. With these few words, I conclude my speech. Thank you once again. Joy Hind.
Thank you, sir. All honorable delegates may now proceed to the annex for the group photograph. This would definitely serve as a memento of our time together. After the group photograph, honorable delegates may kindly join for tea at the same venue. Thank you so much.
The inaugural function of the mid-year executive function of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association has come to an end with the vote of thanks being offered by the Speaker of the Assam Legislative Assembly, Mr. Biswajit Doimari. Earlier, Speaker of the Indian Lok Sabha, Mr. Om Birla, inaugurated the Executive Committee meeting, and it was addressed by Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma. The main meeting will take place in the afternoon, and we now take you back to the studios of Doordarshan Guwahati. Thank you so much.